Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talks with Todd.
Yeah, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Talks with Todd. As y'all already know, this season is coming to a close. Season 5 will be something totally different. I cannot wait. But until then, we're going to stick to the topics. We're going to stick to what we brought this up around. It's been about marriage this whole time. And this is episode 19, man. This is great. This has been my longest running season, man. So I'm happy. I'm really happy about it. So yeah, man, me and my award-winning engineer and host, Telly, she came up with a great topic for today. And today we're about to be speaking on the age of marriage. And because of that topic came about because it was a video of somebody being proposed to. We'll get to it. But somebody was being proposed to at their prom send-off. And it was like, well, how young is too young to get married? And that's how the topic came about. So we about to get into it. Telly.
Let's get into the video.
We're going to get right into it.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was the second one was different. The first one, however, I think I understood that one a lot more than the second one because in the first video you could see a little one there. Y'all was old enough to get that in and make that child. Why not take the next step? Especially if y'all locked in like that. Gotcha. Y'all was locked in enough to make a conscious effort to be like, you know what, tonight we going raw.
I get it. I get it.
I mean, so
I get your point. Because like you said, if you're old enough to do that, you should be old enough to take care of your responsibilities. And whatever comes with that, comes with that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not knowledgeable, though. And True. They don't understand that it only takes one time for that to happen.
Yeah.
But me personally, at that age, though, do you even really think that they're ready? They probably wasn't even ready to be,
that's hit or miss, man, because
that's tough.
It's hit or miss because at the end of the day, when you locked in with somebody to the point where you are having unprotected sex, right? You're making a conscious decision like, yo, I know I want this. I know, you know what I'm saying?
That's what you want to think. Yeah.
Okay, maybe it is what you want to think, but we all know that it's a whole moment that y'all both sharing, right? So y'all know the consequences of this. You know what I'm saying? Either you gonna get pregnant or you might look up and not get pregnant. We everybody knows this now. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we as parents talk. You know, our parents talked to us about this before, so we know what the outcome could be. So yeah, in that regard, I get that. The marriage part, that again, that could be hit or miss because if you made a conscious effort to unload in somebody, right? You spread your seed in this one person. Y'all got a little one now. Why wouldn't you want to marry her?
I can see that. But here's the thing, though. Even though you do that and y'all are just in a relationship, why isn't it okay to just stay at a relationship status until maybe you've grown a little bit more, you more established and know exactly what you want or what it actually takes to be a wife or to be a husband.
Yeah.
I just feel like, okay, y'all must have been in a relationship to some extent to be able to do that. So I don't understand why just keeping that trajectory going until y'all are a little bit older.
Okay, so here's the thing. That sounds good and all that.
Yeah.
However, and unfortunately, titles mean things. So you can sit up here all day and say, hey, you know, we got a little one, but let's just not add on being married. Mm-hmm. Guess what? How does it sound that you got a kid, right, at a young age, mm-hmm. and you're still being called girlfriend? When y'all break up, you turn into baby mama.
That's true.
Okay, so it's
and I look at it the same way for older people. I just like older people that has married, divorced, maybe remarried, and things like that. They're at the stage now where, hey, this is my friend, this is my companion. They're not necessarily saying this is my girlfriend or this is my boyfriend, because at 50 or 60, who wants to still be called that? So I can understand your point of titles being significant. However, if we 17, 18, you know how we, I don't know if you did, but I know some people used to change their last name when text messages had signatures to whoever they were dating last name. Like, oh, that's wifey or that's hubby.
I didn't do all of that.
People will play around with that, but wouldn't know what exactly it meant and what came with it, though.
Well, see, back in those days when you could do all of that, I didn't play that game because I didn't put out the illusion of me just being with one person. I've always, I've always stood firm on being a ladies' man, especially back then. Like, hey, it's gonna be more than one of y'all. Mm-hmm. Now we can all come together, or we just deal with each other at separate times.
Gotcha.
So that's that. I look at things different. I didn't believe that it was just it's always just gonna be me and you. Like I was more realistic, and more importantly, I knew who I was. Mm-hmm. I knew I had an appetite that some people couldn't deal with, and I knew that I needed more than the average man. So, and I was honest about it. So, more so because I had to be. So, yeah, I do believe that back in those days, some people are people fall hard for that puppy love. I get that. However, they have to come to the realization that guess what? One of y'all going off to college and the other one ain't. One of y'all going to a different college.
Exactly.
The other one ain't.
That's what I'm saying. So when you're more established, that's when we maybe can look into the marriage realm. Because my whole thing is, marriage is a thing that, essentially people say, hey, I'm going to do this. This is going to be my person. When you get married, you don't think it's going to be another time after that. So my whole thing is the longevity really going to be there if two people agree to get married when they're younger or in their teens? Like, do you think that it's a chance for the relationship to have longevity?
I think it could, but y'all would have to essablish something beforehand. Like, y'all would have to establish what's going on while you're young. Now, from what I'm looking at, like right now, this younger generation has a very fast moving process than what we did growing up. So the younger generation has an opportunity to make more money than what I did when I was 18. Okay. So it's better for them because they got the microwave. The microwave era is actually good for them. You know what I'm saying? We just got used to things going a certain way. But the microwave era for somebody in the younger generation, it works out to their advantage. They're able to get on the internet and make money by doing
content creators and streaming.
Exactly. So they're able to do that. Plus, things have been changing, especially for the people that are artists. They don't have to have the backing of a label. They can get out there and put that music out on their own and shoot it to whoever they shoot it to. Boom, that's shared with the next person. Boom, they got a buzz, and not because of a label. So there's ways for them to make money way faster than it was for people in my generation.
So you feel like the resources are set up a little bit different. Absolutely. So that if they wanted to take on the responsibility of marriage, they would have the financial stability to do that, and along with just other.
It's better it's a better movement right now than for them to be established than what it was for people of my generation. So you say it's best to get established. Yes, in theory, that is a great idea. Get established, then get married. So y'all got something y'all building off of instead of just building from scratch. In theory, that sounds great, but shit happens.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not everybody's story.
Exactly. My first marriage, that was survival mode for me and that person I was married to. So it's totally different. Now, if I was 18 right now, I probably wouldn't even be married at the moment.
Got it. So, and that's an interesting point, because I know a lot of younger people, they are shying away from getting married, dating, things like that, because it's a different ball game. The economy is different. Literally everything is different when it comes to just how things were then versus now. I just feel like the new adults, would be me, the new adults and things like that, we still have a lot of our inner child that is inside of us that may not be ready for marriage.
Believe it or not, I'm Telly, I'm about to be 41 next month. There's still inner child.
Okay, so the inner child never leaves.
It's just the way that we deal with it. That's all. That's all it is. It's people older than me still got the inner child. Well, people be 60s. You still got,
and they never lose their inner child.
We're all children, but more importantly, it's just all about how we deal with that child. That's it. We all got that inner child, though.
I can see that.
It's just all about how you deal with it. You got to have more discipline. That's it. That's all it is.
You do.
That's all it is.
Because you got people looking up to you now.
But I do understand that, some people do want to shy away from it. I see why. And I see why a lot of men want to shy away from it, especially younger ones. Because guess what? They grew up. I got a homie right now. Got a homeboy. He grew up realizing his mom played his dad. He never wanted to get married ever since then. But guess what? Now, that same guy that was shying away from marriage because what he watched his mama doing is now engaged. So we grow up. The inner child eventually goes away in spurts.
Like you said, it's just how you deal with it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That I can understand that. I can definitely understand that part. So when it comes to people that are older getting married, do you feel like it's a cap on that?
No, ain't no cap on. Dog, it's people that's been married more times than me. It's people out here that's been married 5-6 times because they just love.
That's true. But marriage. Essentially, in 40s, I still look at that as younger. Yeah, I'm talking about the 60s plus, like 60s, 70s, 80s. Do you still feel like marriage should be a thing for them, or you feel like it's good for them to maybe have somebody?
I feel like it should be a thing for them if they want it to be a thing for them. You don't have to do it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do anything. Guess what? It's 70-year-old guys out here having babies still. Why? I don't want to be 80 chasing around a 10-year-old.
The patience ain't there.
The hell?
Yeah, the patience not there. My joints ain't moving the same. It's a thing.
Him gonna probably be wearing diapers at the same time. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm not doing that shit.
And that's the thing that people don't think about. But some older people don't want to go through the hassle of the wedding and the this and the that. They just like, hey, this is my companion. They're coming to the functions. Everybody know about them, but we have not legally got married, or we even use the title of marriage. But people know, like, hey, that's mine. Yeah. So I feel like that's okay, because I feel like we do, need somebody. And even though you get older, you may have been, divorced, whatever the case may be, you can definitely still have a companion.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with having a companion. Mm-hmm. Like, you shouldn't have to. I mean, everybody go by this narrative, born alone, die alone. I understand that. That's true. But it don't have to be like that. You could be with somebody if you choose to. In marriage, don't have to be involved at all. And you could still have. I know people that don't get married, right? They just deal with one person and they like, nah, because as soon as we get married, everything about to change. It's gonna get worse.
It does.
Let's stick to just being long-term companions. I understand those people, because once you get the government involved, and lock it down, that woman change her last name and all that stuff, things are going to change. At one point, there were things you could have fun with when you was in a relationship. Her mindset might change once y'all get married about that stuff y'all used to play around with. It happens. It definitely happens. So I understand people's fear of marriage. I get it. But it's not always a bad thing. It's what you make it. That's it.
That's true. And putting in the work, like you always say, is a big part of just marriage within itself. So
yeah, definitely. Let's get to some of the comments.
Yes. So, Queen of Three Kings. That first one is that their baby, I guess it's okay. So he's kind of agreeing. She's agreeing with you in the sense of, if they have a baby, then the next step at that point would be to marry her.
Yeah, exactly.
Jerry said, "Great afternoon, family.
What up, though?
Queen of Three Kings. My Thoughts exactly, bro. Mark said, what up, though, y'all?
What's
it's in
good?
the mind. Yamina said, because older people make it look scary and untrustworthy. Dorian said, ain't nothing but grown children anyway, posing as adults. Young folks are being bamboozled nowadays. And Yamina said, I'm not getting married at 60. Nope, not doing it. And I know a lot of people, I'm okay with it just not happening.
And that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. I get the people. It's not for everybody. That's for damn sure. For a minute, I didn't think it was for me. And here I am. Third marriage. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But the one thing that I can say about this third marriage is that I knew for a fact I wanted this woman to be my wife.
That's real. And when you know, you know.
Yeah, I knew it already. It wasn't when we were just friends, I was paying attention to how I was changing just because we were having conversations every day. And I'm looking at how I used to be at work versus what I turned into at work. And I was like, oh, wow, she's making me like unconsciously making me change my ways. You know what I'm saying? At work, I used to just flirt all the time to pass time. You know what I'm saying? That was just my thing. I never messed with nobody that I work with. But when I was at the plant, all I used to do was work and talk shit. And I used that to keep me going throughout the day because working at the plant is a stressful job. You know what I'm saying? So I had to relieve my stress. Relieving my stress was flirting with other women. And I didn't even flirt in a way where I was like, yeah, I want to get that. No, I would flirt in a way where they would laugh and I would laugh. You know what I'm saying? It was always something funny behind my flirtation. So it was never nothing serious. And if it was, I made sure they quit or got fired first. Gotcha. So that
they
was
say a man know. They say a man know roughly when they meet you if they gonna marry you or not.
I knew she was the one when I stopped flirting.
Gotta do it.
And I didn't even realize I stopped flirting until there's one chick that I used to flirt with all the time. I used to flirt with this older chick, man, and it was Now, you know, I'm not really attracted to older women like that, but this particular older woman, I was, and she came up to me, was like, "Honey, you all right?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm going through some shit." And she was like, "I can tell because you ain't been, you know, yourself lately." And I knew exactly what she meant when she said
from that.
Yep. So that's how I knew.
That's real though.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you make the changes for who you want and what you want. So.
Exactly. What's up, caller? You on the air?
What's going on, man?
Good morning. Good morning. Sheesh. Good afternoon, Dorian.
Good afternoon. Hey, Todd, I was a PFL for a very, very, very long time. A lot of people assume that I was anti-marriage.
Okay.
But what they don't understand is, like I tell people, listen, I had front row seats of a marriage. I'm 48 and I watched 51 years of a marriage. Right? Front row seat. And it's just the work part. And it's about one thing you got to understand. Two heads is better than one.
Yeah.
These folks talking about, well, I could be alone. And let me tell you something. Ask Luther Vandross. Oh, that's right. You can't ask Luther Vandross about being alone because he died alone.
Yeah.
All the money in the world, he had a stroke because he had unrequited love. He was gay. He couldn't come out in that time.
Yeah.
But it was just the point of you just denying yourself something that is natural. We are all one. We're all connected. No matter what we think, this whole ISO thoughts and I don't need nobody. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I need a woman. I don't want to be dealing with randos. That gets played as you get older. Absolutely. And then there's a health aspect to it and a care aspect because, like I said before, two heads are better than one. I always got this whole analogy of I'm always gonna need a nurse with a person. She's gonna always need an orderly that's subordinate. Okay, You get old. You're not going to be able to fend for yourself. You're going to need someone to take you to medical. It's always good to have someone, if anything. Why would you want to share your life with somebody?
Right.
Even if you don't necessarily have to get married. I didn't get married until I was 44. 40 freaking 4. And everybody was shocked. I had people that was mad. I literally got people that were mad at me because they were looking up to me as some kind of example. And it's like, no, bro. Listen, I felt like the reason I got married too, I had to reward the person I was with.
Yeah,
That's true. Now I have a question for you, Dorian. If you would have not gotten married at the age of what you said, 44, if you would have reached your 50s, would that still be something that you would be open to? Do you feel like it's a cap on marriage?
No,
or
there's no cap. There's no cap, but I will say this: I'm not doing it again. I'm not.
Okay.
I can't do that. I can't do 2 or 3. No. This is because I feel like I will never find another. There's a reason I'm married. The person I'm married.
Hey, that's real.
That's real. Yeah.
It's more than it's more than the physical thing. It's more than it's someone that if you can have someone, like I said before, can complete your sentences, can help you out. Look, when you're thinking about something and they're taking care of it.
Yeah.
That is this does not. And look, you're never gonna marry your soulmate. Your soulmate doesn't necessarily have to be the opposite sex. Your soulmate could be somebody that but you still need to spend your life with someone at least on the same page.
Yes,
I agree.
And Ty, like I know, it ain't nothing like coming home. It's cool to come home to an empty bed and you got all of these women that want to be up under you, but that only gonna last for so long.
It's all temporary, bro. Yeah. It's all temporary, man. Like I tell people all the time. Your especially my homies, your engagement with women is gonna be different when you going home to somebody that actually rock with you wholeheartedly.
That part, yeah.
It ain't about to just be let's have some fun, let's smoke, let's drink, let's fuck. No, it's gonna be deeper than that.
Yeah,
y'all gonna end up having conversations that you can't have with the women that you playing around with because they not trying to be serious.
Yeah,
and they don't take you serious. You are fun.
Yeah.
Keyword. Your mate's supposed to be what? Your what? Better half.
There you go.
So whatever you have a deficit on in your life, that person, this is why you're supposed to take your time. That person is supposed to catch a shortfall. Vice versa. She may be, you could be getting money and, I'm ambitious and da-da-da-da-da. But do you know how to take care of home? Do you know how to slow yourself down?
Yeah.
Are you making enough of your medical appointment? You know what I'm saying? As we age, I'm trying to tell you, as we get older, your health and maintaining your health and having someone to kind of push you along really helps. So in your 20s, enjoy yourself. I wouldn't rush into no marriage because you're still trying to figure out you. In your 30s, that's when you're establishing your foundation. But at that point, it's best to slow it down, get out of these streets, get out of these streets. And focus on self-improvement, self-discipline. So if you decide later on in life that you want to have a mate, you'll be in a position to be a good mate.
Definitely. I agree with that.
We appreciate
one more thing, Dorian.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask if for just like just for a younger marriage, do you look at that and take that seriously if a 17 or 18-year-old was?
Oh heck no! You listen. Are you kidding me? No.
You heard him. He said in your 20s have a ball. He said that already.
Have a ball. In your 30s, you got to kind of you old enough to know better, but young enough to not care.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you should. This is at 30 is when you're supposed to be in full self-development.
Exactly.
And to establish yourself not only in your profession and whatever your dreams are, but being a person that knows how to take care of yourself. Because you can't take care of nobody else if you don't know how to take care of yourself.
Bingo.
That's true.
I appreciate you calling in, my guy.
For sure. I'm watching.
Definitely.
Thanks, Dorian.
Yeah. So unless you, again, like back to what Dorian was saying, you should be having a ball in your 20s. However, if you already, like I was saying in the beginning, if you already started building at a younger age, have at it. If you really feel like that's the one, go ahead and do it. And don't do it just because it's a kid involved. That's the wrong reason to marry somebody. But I understand people getting married if that was the case, because now it's not even about y'all no more. It's about that child. It's about y'all making sure that they get something better than what y'all had growing up. It's about making sure that they're good and they understand what family is like and foundation is like. So I understand the people. So I do understand the people that get married because of the kid, but make sure y'all are aligned first.
Yeah.
So
because you don't want resentment to come down the line. Not resentment of the child, but the resentment of you staying because of the child and not for your own, needs, wants.
Exactly.
Things like that. So
yeah, man. So that's how I look at it. But back to Yamina's point, she did say older people are scaring people off because they look at what I've seen growing up. I didn't see that at all. So I had zero concept of what marriage is supposed to be. Yeah. So of course my first marriage, I didn't take that shit serious.
Got you.
Because I didn't see my mom with nobody until I was a teenager, damn near.
And it's the complete opposite for me. So for my grandparents, they've been married for 60 years. I've seen the good sides of their relationship. Not saying that they didn't have their, maybe disagreements and things like that, but I never seen out of control, destroying property, going to bed mad at each other, days without talking. I didn't see that.
That's wild.
So my form of a marriage was different. And then when I got out into the world, it was like, oh, this is not it anymore. Like I want to say, for lack of better words, living in a fairy tale of what I've grown up seeing. I've grown up seeing like, okay, you are supposed to just be with one person. You are, y'all supposed to be like this, living together. I even know now some people say, hey, I can be married and be in separate homes.
Yeah.
I personally couldn't. I want to be with my mate, next to my mate, in the same house as my mate, because we're one now. You know what I'm saying? So I just know people look at it different, but that was the biggest struggle for me, having to unlearn what I had already learned and be like, okay, maybe life is not like that no more.
And I actually get the couples that are married and live in separate houses. I understand those people.
Do you?
Yes, I do, because guess what? At the end of the day, you and your significant other are gonna end up on different fields when it comes down to y'all mental.
But what about a man and woman cave that's inside of the same house?
It don't always work like that. No,
okay.
No, I get those couples because you could be in a phase of your life where you're trying to build something, and they could be in a phase of their life where they're not. And guess what? If y'all not on the same page, y'all are going to drift apart. So instead of just completely drifting apart, it is best to get into your separate little room or whatever the case may be, and go ahead and do what you're doing. And they're not included, and if they are included, they're only included to a certain aspect. But to keep from imploding, it's best to just handle it like that. So I understand the couples that do live separately. That doesn't mean they hate them or nothing like that. They need to go ahead and do what they doing and stay focused. Like,
got it.
Like, all right, prime example. I can work out from home. I choose to go to the gym so I can stay consistent with working out. It's easy to work out from home and get distracted.
Yeah. Just having to go somewhere to,
I'm not about to go all the way to the gym and not work out.
I'm wasting my time. Yeah, I get it though.
So those are the couples that don't live together. I get it. I totally get it. And ain't nothing wrong with it.
It's that little space.
Yeah. What up, though? Caller, you on the air.
This the underrated darkness.
What up, my guy?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing
Fine,
good.
you?
All right, like the sister was saying, brother. We talk, before my father passed, right? 89. Both of them my father was married before that. So we married his mom. He was second marriage, but he was the first marriage. I think he was married for like maybe 10, 11 years. Then he got divorced. I think back in the early 50s. And then he married my mom's like in the early 60s. But my mom, she had 2 kids already, and he had 4. But along the way, they were together almost like about 30 years. Mm-hmm. But also my late aunt and my late uncle, one from New York and one from down south, they was married for longevity. So that's all I was seeing. And so like when I was growing up and everything, I see people like in a relationship for a long time, like common marriage, they call common marriage and stuff. And so for me, when I was coming up, when they would say like, yeah, I'm married, but I'm still single. I'm like, huh? I wasn't raised that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Was raised that way, but I think that we gonna talk about, like I said before, we talking about families. We had to get back, like we had to understand that if we get married and stuff, we become as one. I mean, the way I look at it like this, that if you still want to be single, don't get married at all.
True. I agree with that. And if you do, here's my thing too. Everything comes down to communication and comprehension. Mm-hmm. If you do want to have somebody extra in your marriage, that's on you, but you also have to communicate that with your significant other before y'all get married. Like, hey, listen, I enjoy other company. Are you going to be okay with having other company? Are you going to be okay with sharing me? That needs to be a conversation. See, everybody look at cheating different. I look at it like this. If you didn't bring shit to the forefront, then that's going to be cheating once they find out otherwise. That's what makes it cheating. When you got to sneak around, when you got to hide the shit, that's cheating. But if you're coming to your significant other and telling them, hey, look, I need this in my life, and if you can't accept it, we got to go our separate ways. If that's not happening, then it's going to be a problem. Either way you slice it. That's where communication comes in. That's where people got to get out of their delusion of thinking that, oh, I could change that. I could be all the women you need. No, sometimes that don't work. Sometimes you may not be able to check some of those boxes for that man. And if that man is coming to you telling you, hey, yo, look, I need this woman for this particular reason, either you accept it or you got to take your walking papers. That's exactly what it is. I'm not saying it's cool. I'm not saying this, you know what I'm saying, it's bad. I just understand that if it's not being communicated, it's wrong.
Right. And at the same time, you have the right to say yes or no.
Exactly.
Like for me, I'm traditional. Nah, I'm not with that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying no. And understand this though, if you do, like you say, if you doing all that sneaky around and stuff like that, if you letting that person know you the wrong.
Yeah.
Because you did not communicate a person. You did not communicate. You feel I can say and do what I want. No.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so like you said, the communication and stuff, but you can say no, I'm not. No, I'm not sharing. No, I'm not.
Yeah. I get
and
it.
that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Y'all keep up the fine work.
No problem. Thank you for tapping in.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it.
I feel like that's the biggest thing. A lot of people get angry at the fact that their choice is taken away. That's why I do agree with you as far as the open communication and the honesty. It goes a long way for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as this is what Yamini was saying, and I do agree with her. She said that's not marriage. We're not living in separate homes or sleeping in separate beds and rooms. No, because why are we together? You can't stand to be around me, or what I do no longer turns you on. Nah, that's not a marriage. And I can get that because a lot of people don't equate space with healthiness. And I feel like a lot of people think that space is because I can't stand you right now, or I don't want to look at you, or I'm mad, or whatever the case may be, as opposed to like you were saying, hey, if we on two different planes right now, you go to your room, whatever you go to. I see it on TikTok all the time, couples that have their rooms and then they have one shared room together. But for me personally, I saw my grandparents literally live under one roof, go to bed every night together. So that's what I thought was the correct way.
I totally understand that. But guess what? Here's the thing. Would you have that same ideology if you didn't see that growing up?
I couldn't say that I would. It's me being a product of my environment.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
So that means in so many words, you were to some extent programmed to see that, and that's what you want now. So here's the thing. I get this is why people don't like me, because I'm not a side chooser. I'm a logical person. Yes, I'm a logical person that sees all sides of the situation. I understand where Yamina's coming from. Again, it ain't for everybody, but I see my side of it too. I understand. Well, not even my side, because I don't live like that. But I will understand it.
I see your point.
I will understand the couples that do it, because it's not necessarily I can't stand you, I need space from you because of this. It could just because I'm working on something else that you don't want to be a part of, and I need to stay focused. That's it. It doesn't. Now, some couples do live separately because of that situation. Some couples grow apart and can't stand each other. I've seen that side of it too. So that's where I understand where you coming from as well. But it ain't like that in every situation. And yeah, Mark said, getting married is up to some mofos. I don't know to decide if I can leave a mofo, LOL. So I understand that too. Get married, but if when it comes time when y'all having those difficult moments, yeah, the first thing, the easy thing to do is to leave. That's very easy. That's why I don't. No matter how hard it get between my wife and I don't just say, you know what, I'm about to dip. You know why? Because I've done it already. I've played that game before. I left 2 people before, like because I was tired of their bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So if I've already done that, why am I about to keep doing that now? It's been very rough between me and my wife, and the crazy thing is, it ain't even because of us. It's because of the outside bullshit we got to deal with coming from other people. So that they've made it rough. But guess what? If we're both on the same page as far as staying mentally strong and sticking to the script and staying on path, ain't nothing gonna beat us. I told my wife a long time ago, ain't nobody else outside of our marriage. They should never have more power than me and you. And if they do, we might as well say sayonara to each other right now, because they should never have that much power. So if y'all not mentally on the same page anyway, y'all marriage is gonna fail. I don't care if you're fucking 18 or if you're 40. It's gonna fail if y'all not mentally on the same page. Point blank, period.
I agree with that. But see, here's the thing, though, and I do think that you're right. However, you know when they say opposites attract, and maybe something that I'm lacking in,
you feel
exactly. So with that being said, maybe it's something that kind of grows into alignment. Maybe that's not something that they just have off rip. And like you said, that can even be for older and or younger couples, marriages, whatever the case may be. That could be a thing too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can get that too. But as far as the whole age situation go, again, it's all about how y'all work together as a team. If y'all not working together right as a team, it ain't nothing gonna work anyway. You gotta work as true. Prime example. Let's be real. In the first start, what makes a man want to get in a relationship at the start or in his younger stages, obviously, is sex. Consistent sex. That's all it is when we're young. All right, this is my girlfriend. This is my girlfriend. Oh, bet we already about to do this. So that means if we're together, we're gonna keep doing that. So that's what keeps a man locked in at first. Yeah,
like you said, when they're younger.
When you're younger, I'm not talking about if anybody 40 and still getting locked in by sex is stupid. Okay, so they need to grow up. But when you're young, that's your mentality.
Right.
Oh, I'm about to get consistent sex, and it's gonna be in house. So if we're living together already, so from there, you're gonna start seeing different things that you may or may not like about this person that you with, that you're still having sex with.
You find out a lot when you live with someone.
Exactly.
That's when you find out
the truth. You see, you're going to see some things that's going to make you not want to have sex. So when you take sex off the table, you're going to really see what this whole situation is going to be about.
I don't feel like you should lead with that anyway, because like I said, what if it's the day that's not happening? What else do we have? So I think that you shouldn't even lead with that. Even if it is a mental for one party, it's not something that should be led with. But I do get the ideology of when you're younger, that's your thought process. Because you're like, okay, I got the freedom. It's just us. We got space, open space and opportunity. But it has to be more than what you're tapping into than just the physical. Kind of like what Dorian was saying.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all about, what else can you bring besides the norm? That's really it.
That's it.
Because sex is perfectly normal. It happens, okay?
That's how we got here.
But exactly, that's exactly how we got here. It was some horny motherfuckers, right? That's all it was.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if we got something, if we don't have nothing built outside of that, we don't have anything. So I personally believe as long as those people, whether they're younger or older, they have set some type of foundation with each other outside of everything else that people think that is necessary. Don't get me wrong. Sex is very necessary in a relationship and in a marriage. However, what are you going to do when that's off the table? Like, if y'all don't have great conversation, y'all can't make each other laugh, y'all don't have nothing else in common, you're done anyway. So I think that, I think those conversations are important. I just believe that everybody has their own mindset about what they think marriage should look like. You know,
That's
Telly,
true.
you had your mind made up about what marriage should look like to you.
And that's completely changed.
Yeah.
I had to be open-minded and allow myself to be prone to change, or I will be stagnant and stuck in that one mindset ideology. And it's like, yeah.
And then another thing too, you know, back to what Yamina had said about the older generation scaring the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people in the older generation that actually intrigued the younger generation to get married, because guess what?
That's true.
They saw something different in that marriage that they didn't see in other marriages. Like, okay, somebody might have had an uncle that you had two aunties, right? So that might have intrigued the young man to be like, I don't know how Unc doing this, but I wanna have two girls.
Yeah, because it was praised. Anytime Unc do it or Dad do it, it's praised.
Right.
So that's a double standard.
Yeah,
but
it is a double standard. However, it's a double standard that will influence the younger generation to be like, okay, what do I have to do to get like Unc or get like how Pops made it happen?
For sure. Now I have a question for you.
What up?
What advice or what would you say to your kids if they wanted to get married younger? Would you explain to them what it consisted of? Would you follow in their path and let them make their own decision? How would you kind of navigate that? If somebody was to do the same thing, propose to them while they're, on their way to prom or graduation?
Well, it's different because I got a son and a daughter. So my answers for both of them will be totally different.
Okay, based on the gender. Okay.
So I'm gonna start with my daughter. I have a 7-year-old. She, if somebody proposed to her at a young age, and she didn't have herself together, I would tell her straight up. I said, "Listen, you gonna do what you want to do regardless. But what I will tell you is this: if you don't know how to take care of yourself, how are you gonna take care of another person that possibly don't know how to take care of themselves? Or even if they do know how to take care of themselves, if they're not coaching you to do that yourself, what are you going to do if something happens to where they can't take care of you?" I would ask that question. I would ask her that question because a lot of mothers will sit up here and be like, "Don't mess with no man if he can't take care of you." Well, what if you can't take care of yourself, ma'am?
Yeah.
Like, so
because that's where it starts.
Because guess what? At the end of the day, there are certain things you got to learn how to do. I learned how to cook at an early age. Okay, shout out to my mom for teaching me how to cook eggs, French toast. So I'm not sitting up here eating cereal all day. But she didn't go too far with the cooking lessons because she didn't want me burning the house down or forgetting about certain stuff. So I didn't start throwing anything into the oven until later. You know what I'm saying? But I knew how to cook essential.
You know how to survive.
Exactly.
That was the basics.
So for the longest time, even all the way up to my adulthood, I was a breakfast cooking ass nigga.
Why do we sleep at night though? Yeah, but that's a point.
It does. But that's my point though. Certain things is just little stuff like that. Don't expect for somebody to keep cooking for you if you don't know how to cook. And if you don't know how to cook, at least get them to want to. You know what I'm saying? Try to find out how you do that. Prime example, my wife, I didn't cook no dinner when we first got together, right? Breakfast cooking dude, that's it. That's all I knew how to throw that. She didn't even think I knew how to cook at first until I cooked breakfast. She like, "Hey man, you hiding some skills."
So you could do a little something.
Yeah, so one day she cooking in the kitchen and she's like cutting up some potatoes. I think she was about to make curry. So anyway, I get in it. She was like, "Why don't you come in here?" So we started. I came in. I'm like, "What you need me to do?" So I started peeling potatoes, cutting them up, whatever. And as I'm doing this process, I'm like, this is pretty easy. Like stuff I've never done before, right? The furthest I cooked, furthest I had went when it came down to cooking was a burger, making myself a cheeseburger, or a pizza. And the only reason I knew how to make pizza because I worked at Little Caesars when I was younger.
Gotcha. So that was I feel like when you have basic knowledge of cooking though, everything just kind of builds on itself. Right. It's just different recipes, seasons, etc.
But if it wasn't for her kind of reeling me in with helping her in the kitchen, I would have never wanted to cook because I got so conditioned to not cook dinner.
Yeah.
I was conditioned to cook breakfast. So had she not done that, I would have never became the dope cook that I am right now. You know
Say Chef Boyardee.
Yeah. So so I would have never explored that. Like, and
that's cool.
Simple stuff is gonna matter when you get older. Like, certain things are gonna become a requirement. So, like, now going back to your question, my son, if he tell me, Dad, I want to marry this girl, and he ain't nothing but 17, 18 years old, I'm like, what can you do for her? Don't try to. Don't.
So you're gonna hold him accountable.
Don't try to get married and you can't take care of this woman, because when a woman gets around a man, you're cooked. That engagement, that marriage of yours is gonna be over with. And I'm not saying you gotta check 1,000 boxes, but you better be able to at least check half of them boys before you even think about getting married. Because there's certain things that come, there are certain requirements that you are supposed to have as a husband. And if you do not fulfill those requirements, sir, you will get replaced. That's the conversation I'll have with my son. He come talking about something. I want to get married. I want to marry this girl. Like, bro, what can you do for her?
So you're gonna sit down and you're gonna kick it with them, and then allow them to make their decision from there.
I'm gonna ask necessary questions and see what their answers are. If I don't like the answer, or if the answer not even making sense, I'm gonna be like, you about to make a fatal mistake, and this shit about to crash and burn.
Got you. At least you're being real with them, because some parents don't say anything. They just let them fall and be like, "Well,
no,
you know."
No, I'm not about to just throw my kids to the wild, but I'm also not about to sit up here and sugarcoat anything for their asses either. I talk to all of them like they already grown. I don't play no games. My 7-year-old, talk to her like she grown. I'm not handling things with kid gloves, because guess what? It didn't happen with me. And when my mother tried to do that, all it did was make me run away from her, because I realized she was trying to shield me from the world, and a world that I needed to experience anyway. Yeah. So, no, I'm not playing those games with my kids. They getting talked to like they grown-ups. That's it.
Got you.
And I'm teaching them grown-up lessons. Oh, you want money to do this? What are you willing to do for this money? What are you about to make sure it gets done around this house before I give you this money?
Yeah, because in life it's not just gonna be handed. So I definitely think that's a good skill.
Exactly. Yeah. So ain't nothing about to get handed to you. Ain't nobody about to be saving you, especially when you grown. And if you want to be saved when you grown, that's a bigger problem. So
yeah, Mina said, I'm not asking a man to do nothing I can't do for myself.
Good. You go.
And I feel like that's where it starts.
There you go. I thank you, Yamina, for saying that, because it's a lot of little master splinters running around here wanting a man to sit up here and buy them this and buy them that and this shit that they can't even afford themselves. No, ain't nobody trying to hear that, because at that point, all a woman is gonna be good for is sex. If you asking for something that you can't provide for yourself, all you gonna be good for is that. So I'm glad you said that. And it's I think more women need to teach that than to teach all this other crap that's been going on the internet. If more women thought like that, it'd be this whole relationship, marriage situation will be going a lot smoother than what it is. So that's dope.
I agree, because it's much more than bringing something to the table than it being just the financial thing. And I feel like whatever someone else does for you, it should be extra, but you should already have a solid foundation for you. So that way when y'all do come together in a relationship and or a marriage, y'all coming together using both of y'all resources, both of y'all finances, wisdom, things like that. I feel like it should be coming from both parties and not just one. I feel like that's why people cups be getting empty really quick, because they're continuously giving and not being poured or given back into. So
absolutely,
it's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's always a two-way street. Always a two-way street. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people want to just sit up here and just take. What are you going to give at some point? And so I don't mind having these conversations with my kids. However, I personally don't. My son already at 13 has his own outlook on marriage. I don't think he wants to get married, and that's subject to change, obviously. Because at one point I didn't want to get married.
And that's interesting. Do you feel like people who have that ideology, not your son per se, but people that have that ideology, it comes from a survival mode or being a selfish, or maybe not thinking that they can live up to the expectation of a husband, or
no. What I believe is my son saw me and his mother always at it, And I think that scared them. Now that I'm in a marriage that is healthy and I work with my wife works with me, I work with her, and we work as a team. Now it's like, oh, I'm not used to that. So what next? Like now it's like his whole mood has changed about marriage, seeing the good side of it and the bad side.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. But
so with I would be open. I would be open for my kids to be happy. That's the number one thing. I want them to be happy. Even if it's not necessarily who I would want them to be with, as long as they're getting treated right and things like that. I can have my discrepancies as to, maybe why I don't like them specifically. But if it isn't doing anything to harm them, I would say go for it. Only for the simple fact of I have the ideology of marriages, lasting for 60 years plus. So with that being said, they've had to start young in their, teens and when they're 17, 18. So I would tell them to do whatever it is that you feel like will make you happy. And I don't feel like it's necessarily an age to that. Because to be honest with you, before I really got kind of out into the world, I thought that I was going to be married early. I thought I was going to be married in my early 20s. And things like that, but that's not the case because I haven't looked at it from a different lens.
Right.
But I wouldn't discourage that because I'm like, okay, that means that you're maybe putting childish things away and you're looking into the future. And with your future, you see you being married. So who am I to say no or stop that? Or, because I'm not in my child's shoes.
Yeah.
So I don't have their feelings, their mindset. Literally, they may be the one that happens to. So it may not have happened to me. It may have skipped my generation and happened to them, where they do end up getting married in their early 20s. So
yeah,
it's a thing. I know a lot of people do things for show.
Yes.
As opposed to it actually being real. That's what I would say. Like, I need you to really understand who it is that you're marrying. Long as you're happy, you're not being mistreated. It's not too much more that I can really say. And
that's another part that I did forget to touch on. So thank you for saying that. Yes, that's another thing that I would tell my kids. Understand who you about to marry, and more importantly, I want you to kick it with that person's family. That's right there is we're gonna show you who you're about to be dealing with. And I hate it like that. I even ignored red flags before, but since then I've learned my lesson. So yeah, I would definitely tell my kids, get around that family real quick and see what they're like. Everybody not gonna be cool. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna like all of your in-laws, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and some of them gonna be hating. Some of them gonna be liars. Some of them gonna try to spin narratives. All kind of stuff is gonna happen, but it's all about how you deal with it. But you need to see what that family is like, because what that family is like is what that person and you are gonna be like moving forward. Kids or no kids, you need to kick it with that family and get a great idea of what that family is like. It's a lot of people out here that will put on a front. When you first meet them, everything might seem like it's kumbaya, and then it turns out it's something totally different in the end, and you realize, oh, y'all didn't do nothing but raise a monster, and y'all,
yeah,
it was like y'all was champion for somebody to marry this fool because y'all wanted her out of y'all hair or him out of y'all hair. Oh, I see what y'all did. Y'all foul. So
yeah,
you
please
need
do the vetting.
Yes, vet. Please vet well.
Yeah, and I said that only because I know, because I'm still young, I know that anytime you put resistance, they'll do the opposite, essentially. So,
absolutely.
Like you said, it's best to be real. It's best to let them make their own decision, and don't make it seem like it's a bad thing. Because I know a lot of kids or younger adults, if you put something in their forefront as not being good, just like, for prime example, just cussing. Oh, that's a bad word. Oh, I want to say it. They get intrigued to say it, as opposed to being like, hey, these are curse words. It's not really that. Just explaining to them just different things. They won't be as intrigued to do it or do the opposite. So
yeah, like I know plenty of people that let their kids cuss.
Yeah,
they just say, look, don't ever cuss at me, and don't use that language in school, or don't get caught.
Space.
Yeah, or don't get caught using that language in school. While you in school, you be respectful, all that good stuff. When you get out on that playground or whatever it is that you doing, okay, fine, go ahead and have a ball, because I'm not gonna be able to stop you. But don't ever use that language with me or around me. Do your thing. Yeah, so I understand those people, man. But hey, shout out to everybody that was tapping in. I definitely appreciate y'all, man. Rhea said yes. The person you are dating, family structure matters. Hell yeah,
it does.
Oh my God,
it does. You'll learn a lot just off of the family.
Yes, you will.
But then that's the thing, though. Do you want to meet people's families too early? Because I would want something established with the person before I just meet their family.
I'm not trying to meet the family.
Because I don't want everybody to meet my mom.
No. I'm not trying to meet the family off of a few dates. Absolutely not. It depends on what level we're on. If we're talking about, hey, you know what? I'm not ready to get married just yet, but I wouldn't mind living with you. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? When you dating or when you in a relationship, right? When you're in a relationship with somebody,
yeah,
you don't really know who they are until you live with them, right?
Yeah, because those weekend links and y'all going out to eat is great.
Or you crash at their crib, they crash at your...
You going your separate ways after, but to have to live... That's why I say you actually know a person when you live with them.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but to me, you really don't know who a person is till you have kids with them.
That too. Yeah. They do say that too.
Yeah, you know who
when you live with somebody, when you are pregnant, for the women, you know who's really for you, and then when you have kids.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, the family structure does matter. Real, I definitely agree with you on that, and I wish I knew that early on. But hey, you live and you learn.
You definitely live and you learn.
It's definitely been a great show. Thank you for everybody that tapped in. Make sure y'all subscribe to that YouTube channel. I'll make sure I even put the link in the comments before we get up out of here, so y'all can go ahead and subscribe. And season 5, like I said, man, it's about to be great, and I'm probably not gonna start season 5 to the fall. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Be on the lookout for it. Each season, I'm planning for each season to be different, but who knows what might take off. I didn't plan on season 4 to go this long. You know what I'm saying? My next episode gonna be my 20th episode, and it will be my last episode of season 4.
Wow.
So
nice.
Yes. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you, Telly, for joining me again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate everybody. Till next time.
Peace.